We believe that this is going to require like a separate entity that's not necessarily a committee, it's a part of the chamber, but its own freestanding thing that takes as much time as it needs to accomplish its goal. Identify our assets and liabilities, our assets being our cash, land, and investments, our liabilities being a payroll study, real estate maintenance, and fixtures, furniture, and equipment. Identify our foundation's position and how it can benefit the chamber's position. Explore opportunities to leverage debt. Explore opportunities to consolidate, reinvest, earn income, and highest and best use of our current cash and investments. Explore opportunities for best use of real estate and put them into practice. Look into a capital campaign for real estate improvements. Match budget to our strategic plan and make sure that those are working together. And that as the strategic plan is developed, the budget that's coming in, that we start together on the same plan. Identify industry standards for cash reserves, earnings, debt holdings, etc. So in other words, identify the industry standards for chambers of commerce, right, and what's traditional that we part of that.
Great job. How about that?
One example being a branding guide. Is that right? And so, first of all, just to say before, I'll say this. Okay, so we said the first thing we would need to do is form a very small marketing task force. We said 5 might be the ideal number, which would be 4 plus a staff member. That would be an uneven number to vote on things. So we're starting with that because then it would require to review and assess branding and do a marketing asset audit. And both of those may require some decisions on like who. And so you have a whole little task force to help decide who and what that part looks like. So from the beginning. And that we said that would be in Q1. And then the task force then would make recommendations to the board and also propose an implementation plan that would go across all assets and tactics that we use for marketing. So it might be video, print, digital, social media. And then Q3 would be implementation, and that's based on the fact that the directory comes out in Q4, so decisions probably get made somewhere in the third quarter. But we also realize all of this requires money. And so this is not an expense, but an investment that the chamber would make, because it's one of those things of spend money to make money. And this is based on that thing we said, do our programs define our budget, or does the budget define the program? Make a budget, we'll have to make a budget recommendation based on even what this might cost. Because I don't know.
So it sounds to me like you're saying you would hire somebody?
So a thought process would be this potentially, if the board made a decision, we want to look at a refresh to the logo and other applications for the branding and look and feel of the chamber. At some point, then the task force would go in, do an evaluation, ask for quotes, determine what that would look like in local forms, short term, mid-term, long term, these number of different assets, whatever that looks like, then provide what these things look like, dollar and cents wise. So when that financial committee gets together and does their thing, and if there's a goal to hit, and we need to say, here's $10,000 toward marketing to develop a new refreshed look and feel, a potential implementation plan, everything from podcasts to quick videos, enhancing, whatever that looks like, then they can plan and work around it. So,
Yes, to answer your question, I think we were thinking of hiring that part out so that a professional agency did it, basically.
You're gonna have some sort of professional graphic designers involved. I think internally, a lot of the marketing experts that are within this room even could help with implementation for some of those things. But to Ty's point, if we're gonna look at revamping the website or we require professional video editing, those assets do cost money. If we're going to replace all the marketing collateral. We have pins, notepads, those things, that everything, that's going to be a financial investment. Are we going to refresh on the few things that are involved in the community, or are we going to do a complete rebrand? They're two different things.
And that's where a task force can bring other recommendations, period, and then the board will make decisions, and based on.
I think there's also an curriculum holiday crisis for World ad agency is an opportunity to engage. Again, that SFA overlap. But we're starting an ad agencies and going to let. Okay, so yeah, starting an ad agency, that's a resource that can save some cost and get these students some professional experience.
See, I
That's down the road.
think especially when we're talking about these pieces where it's the assessment piece, I mean, that'd be the perfect place to have students do that type of research. I mean, and this can be as much money or as little money as we would spend in the beginning phases when we're talking about that, because if we
Yes.
say we're limited by a certain amount of money, then we say, okay, well, we're gonna start small, we're gonna keep everything the same, but we're gonna change these 4 things based on this assessment.
And the audit shouldn't really have a cost associated with it. We should be able to get what we need from chamber staff and the partners that you currently utilize, and then inventories of any supplies or materials that you have in stock. But the audit is literally what channels are we using, how many different versions of the logo do we currently have in use, what assets do we have, what collateral do we have. So, how many videos do we already have made that have this logo on them? Whereas, do we need to go change those, or can we continue to use those as we face this down and create new content? So it's really all those little bits and pieces and how they all come together. So internally getting a hold of those assets, I do think it's a great idea to have the students involved to help facilitate that. But that really shouldn't have a cost associated with it. It's replacing all of those.
Great job, you guys. Let's do a round of applause. They have.
Okay, all right, so we were on the reimagining key programs. We did not get to all the programs, but we were focusing on ribbon cutting, the Blueberry Festival, the Light After Fives, the banquet. We did not make it to a Light After Five, but we had a lot of great ideas and a lot of good discussion. So talking about ribbon cuttings, we bounced around some different ideas of letting the business owners have more of a say, more control over what that ribbon cutting looks like for them, instead of painting an agenda and saying, here, this is what's gonna happen today. We talked about rearranging the order of that, and that was actually an idea from Olivia. We talked about that before, about changing the order of how things are done and moving the announcement part of what's happening in the chamber either to the end or handing out a piece of paper to everybody as they leave for the dates that are coming up, so that the ribbon cutting is more focused on the business owner and they're really getting to say what they want to say, not feeling rushed or feeling like, oh, well, Kelly was doing this stuff, I don't even know what to say anymore, or something like that, just to kind of change the flow of the ribbon cutting so that it's more centered on the business owner and what they're doing and what is happening with them instead of what's happening at the chamber. Definitely having the QR code to sign in. I think it's a great idea to track the metrics, especially if do the same people come to the ribbon cuttings and that's all that's coming. It's like the same 20 people all the time doing things. So if we could track that and figure out who comes the most, I like that idea too, or but giving points to people, or just like incentivizing or advertising that these people do these things, and like there's other ways for you to be involved. Promoting as the business owners' social media and online presence, so giving them an opportunity to say, follow me on this, whatever. We were talking about some other ways that we can celebrate our businesses without necessarily having a ribbon cutting. Leanne had a great example of that, something that was happening at the hospital, and they weren't ready to do like involve the chamber and have all that to do a ribbon cutting, but they wanted to make an announcement. So like, how can we do that? That's maybe not a full-on ribbon cutting, or they didn't want to use up their one ribbon cutting. All right, then we talked about the banquet, and the main goal I think was to try to shorten the time that we are there. It has become quite a lengthy agenda. Would be to present what people